Girlfriends, it is that time. It is that time for another interview. Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. So listen, here is another episode of Girlfriends Chat with Angela Jordan Perry. I have my special guest today out of Georgia. Say hi, Annie.
Hello, whoop whoop. So glad to be here.
Look, Minister Annie in the house. This is a girlfriend I have had for I know like at least 20 some years, right? Because we were going to church together in Virginia and my oldest is 24. So I think right when I had my oldest. So we have been in connection for many, many years. And I am so excited. She has crossed over to the homeschool world. Yes, and she did that a couple of years ago. So I want to give you a chance to just hear her journey, her story. She's a dynamic woman and a beautiful journey to boot along with that as she has been homeschooling her two children. So let me let you know if this is your first time joining Girlfriends Chat, what this platform is all about. Okay, so this platform is to give voice to those of the African diaspora to say hashtag we homeschool too. And we are getting it done and our kids are thriving. They are excelling. They are making it happen. We are doing it. We are educating our own children, okay? And so you. So if you're not homeschooling, this is the platform for you to go to and to hear and be encouraged and enlightened and informed on all the how-tos of homeschooling, okay? How to get started, what does it look like, what should you do, what should you not do, what's your self-talk, and all of that good stuff. If you already homeschooling, then this is also the platform for you so you can stay encouraged and stay on the journey. You know, I've been doing this for 20 years. So I just need some encouragement constantly because the girl's getting tired. I'm ready to retire and it is nowhere near in sight. So this is a place where you can get encouraged and some refreshing and insights and say, wow, she does that. Maybe I can add that to our homeschooling. So this is what this platform is for. To let you know, I'm Angela Jordan Perry. I'm the host of Girlfriends Chat, the podcast, and also Girlfriends Guide to Homeschooling, which is the sister to Girlfriends Chat. So on Girlfriends Chat podcast, you get the full interview, Girlfriends Guide to Homeschooling. You get a teaser talk where we talk about something that's not even an interview, but it's on my YouTube channel, okay? I too am a homeschooling mom of 20 years, 8 children, 3 of whom I've graduated out of homeschool all the way through. And then 5, I'm still homeschooling. And when I say I'm ready to retire, I don't have no shame in my game. I'm ready to be done. It's been a long journey. I got a grandbaby. I'm ready to travel. I'm ready to do everything else except to stay with some books with my kids. But kids first, right? So I'm making it happen. We're getting it done. I make my home in Greer, South Carolina, and my purpose-driven life is to make a positive impact on thousands of homeschoolers worldwide. And I start that journey off first right here in the state of South Carolina, where I give families legal status to homeschool their children. So all of that information about me will be in the show notes. But then these other platforms, Girlfriends Chat with Angela Jordan Perry, the podcast, Girlfriends Guide to Homeschooling with Angela Jordan Perry, the show on YouTube, which has reached over 1,000 people. Yay!
Yes.
I'm so excited.
That's
And then I also have Educating Our Own. That is another up and coming platform. And then lastly, the Homeschool Upstart. So my life is all things homeschooling, okay? So that's enough about me. Here we're going to talk about Annie. Annie Bell, are you ready to make it happen?
I think I am. What you
All
got
right.
for me?
Good deal. Let me tell you a little bit about Annie, girlfriend. So Minister Annie Bell is a retired independent financial advisor who also founded Wealth Management Ministries, Incorporated, where they endeavor to bridge the gap between the rich and poor through teaching financial literacy to the people in the underdeveloped communities and the youth. After several years in operation, she was led to create another arm of the ministry to help prevent and abolish child abuse and sex trafficking called Prevention Works. Through that arm, she also started a radio show, authored a book, and advocated for victims who have no voice. As a serial business owner, or serial business owners, her and her husband opened Habakkuk Books, self-publishing company, Pneuma Desigz. I hope I said that right. If I didn't, you correct me. Pneuma Desigz graphic design company. Dream Vacation Depot, a boutique travel agency, and Tackle and travel blog. They began their journey towards homeschooling through a cyber academy. And then after 2 years, they delved straight down into homeschooling. As a travel enthusiast, her and her family traveled extensively. They traveled extensively. However, Annie began researching how to incorporate travel into their homeschool curriculum, which birthed their world schooling journey. So that is a little bit about you, Annie. If there is anything else that you like to share with the girlfriends, please let us know. And then tell us, what was the catalyst to actually getting you started in your homeschooling journey?
Well, for us, it was more a bit of a trauma situation. We moved to Georgia. We were from Virginia, and we moved to Georgia, and the dynamics in the school system here in Atlanta, well, we're in Metro Atlanta, so it was a little different. There was a lot of, still some racism, some implicit bias, and that my daughter, initially I only had one baby, and so she was experiencing in school, even from Black teachers. Black teachers were treating Black students meaner, less compassion. And the white kids would say stuff like, you're ugly because you are Black, and things of that sort. And I did not want my children to have soul wounds. My husband the same way. And there's enough in the world, enough pain and hurt to go around in the world. We did not want our children to start off at the age of 5, 6, and 7 to have to contend with that. And we didn't feel like that they should. So my husband and I pulled at 2nd grade, we pulled our daughter out and began doing Connections Academy, the Cyber Academy. Because we were planning on doing it, but not so soon. So I didn't feel ready, and I didn't want to toy with her her schooling or her academics. So I said, well, let's start this one. They already know what they're doing, and we can school her from home. At the time, our son was 3, I believe. And so because he had a lot of energy, I decided, let's get him started, and so he can matriculate and get comfortable with the whole idea of school early. And so we put him into pre-K at 3. But after about 2 months, the teachers started acting funny. You would watch the kids go in, and the teachers are like, hey, Kaden, hey, Kathy, or whatever. And then as soon as Uriah came in, it was silent. And I thought, okay, what is really going on here? Then I started hearing things like, they wanted to say things like ADHD and ADD in the same sentence as my son's name. And so my husband at the time was a behavioral aide. So he decided that he's going to go sit in the class and see exactly what's going on. And what he noticed was that the teachers, I guess, have grown tired of Uriah's energy level. And he definitely has a strong will and desires to do, his thing his way. And so I guess the teachers started getting, kind of tired of him. And the kids were also acting accordingly, watching the kids and then treating Uriah the way the teachers were treated. They also realized that they could get Uriah in trouble by getting him excited about Legos or, train sets or whatever have you. So they would say, hey, look, Uriah, look what I got, when it's really quiet time, so they could get him riled up. So my husband came back home, and I was like, hey, you kind of got here early. School hasn't come out. He said, I don't need to see anymore. We're pulling Uriah out today. I was like, today? I was just,
ready, set, go right now.
I know. He was like, right now, today. We don't. And I said, well, should I call this? He said, don't even call the school. We're just going to pick him up. And when we pick him up, let him know that will be the last day. And so, so his homeschooling journey began again, kind of through a little abruptly. Okay. And we did the ABC mouse, because again, he was so young.
Yeah.
And then as he got older, he began in Connections Academy as well. Connections Academy was good, and it basically mirrored public school, so there's still a lot of testing, a lot of stress, and bending the kids the way they think the kids should be bent. And so when Connections Academy decided to do away with the elementary school, at the time my son was in elementary and my daughter was in middle school, we didn't want to homeschool one and cyber school the other. So we decided we're going to go ahead and take the plunge. We feel pretty confident about the laws and regulations. And so we decided, let's just go ahead and do that. And so, it was a little scary the first year, because again, I don't like making mistakes.
Right. Before you jump in there, let me ask you this. Tell us, so when you officially started schooling them, what were their ages then and their grades?
Okay, so Azriel was in the 6th grade.
Okay,
and then going to the 7th, and then Uriah was going into the 2nd grade.
So what grade is Azriel in right now?
She's in 10th. She's going to the 10th grade.
I don't even believe. I was like, wait a minute. Is she that old? Oh,
yes. I know. I was like, finally, I got someone in high school, because I was like, are y'all ever going to get out of the, elementary and middle school?
That happened too fast. That happened too fast, Annie. I wasn't ready for that. She is going to the 10th grade, and Uriah, when you got started, he was going to the 4th grade.
When we got started, he was going to 2nd grade.
2nd grade, okay. But he's now 4th grade.
Right.
Okay, gotcha. Wow. Okay. Wow. That time went fast. I cannot believe your daughter is 10th grade. Okay.
I know. Well, the good thing about it, and one of the things that you helped me with also, is Azriel she's very smart, very book smart, and she got straight A's and stuff like that. And you had given me some counsel that possibly skipping her a grade, because if she is already excelling and excelling classes, that maybe perhaps think about moving her up a grade. So she did skip the 7th grade.
Gotcha. Okay.
We through the summer, after she finished 6th grade, we did make her go through the math portion of 7th grade, and so she did that lickety split, and I felt comfortable moving her into the 8th grade. And so that's probably why you're like, wait a minute, the time flew. And so that's one of the reasons why it helped it fly. So yes, she's going into
the 10th grade. Okay, gotcha. Beautiful. Okay, so I know you were just about to jump in your first year of schooling. How did that go? So when you took the reins and you all started homeschooling yourself, it's all on you all. How was that first year of homeschooling? How did it go? And how did Uriah do now he's in this environment with you and your husband homeschooling?
Well, we decided that for our kids, they did well online. So we found a curriculum called Power Homeschool, which is powered by Acellus, which is a STEM, and they're in schools and stuff like that. So we decided to do Power Homeschooling. So the core, here in Georgia, there's the core that, and I'm sure there's, it's like that in many other states, but there's the core math, social studies, reading, so we had the core of being given through Power Homeschool.
Okay.
But because there were so many other things that we believed our children needed, we did add more to their curriculum.
Okay.
And so we called them joint classes. So they would be in their separate rooms, in their study areas in the morning. And, we'll do our recesses and stuff like that. And then in the afternoon, early or late morning, about 11:30, we do what's known as joint studies.
Gotcha.
So they both learn the same thing. And it also gives them some time to be with someone else other than just, either me or their dad. And so we also integrated other things like financial literacy. Of course, that's my natural bend.
Yeah.
So everything inside of that. So they learned basics of investing, how to buy a home, credit management, budgeting. So we talked about budgeting, talking about with the budgeting piece, getting them to think about the things that they want to do and being realistic on how to achieve their dreams. Okay. Because sometimes we say, dream anything you want, you can be. But as parents, sometimes we don't know, or even teachers don't know how to funnel them into or escort them into that arena so that they can begin to open their minds up and not just have a daydream,
right?
Actualizing it and having it, their aspirations. So, like for instance, when we started with the budgeting, I asked my first question was, hey, what do you want? What kind of house do you want? What type of life do you want to live? Mm-hmm. Tell me, what does that look like? And as they begin to tell me, then I said, okay, so how much do you think, what kind of job do you think would help you attain that? Mm-hmm. Now, my daughter, she already has aspirations of becoming a forensic pathologist. Okay. So she was like, I'm going to forensic pathology. My son is like, well, I'm going to be a gamer. I said, okay, because there are some gamers making buku money.
Lots, honey, lots.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay. So we then took time to look up each career aspiration. Okay. And said, okay, how much do they make? And as a forensic pathologist, do you go into the county? Is it better for you to go into, independent? So we talked about all that. And I also talked about, hey, pick out the house. So they went online, Zillow.com, went online and picked out their houses that they liked. Mm-hmm. And we put that in the budget. Gotcha. So a house like this is going to cost you this amount of money, and this is how much your payment is going to be. And you got to eat, you got to keep the lights on and blah, blah, blah. So we actually did a budget. Really? And so, exactly. And we backed into their dream. So we said, okay, so if it's going to take you and you need to earn $100,000, is that feasible as a new gamer? Is it feasible as a forensic pathologist? Right. And so they held fast to that. And Uriah actually said, well, maybe I could be a gamer at night and be an engineer in the daytime.
Mm, he knew he had to make some more money.
Exactly. Because he's like, because he said he wanted to travel, take his family all these places. And I was like, do you think you can afford it? Because when we looked up the gamers, it's anywhere from 25 to 35,000, unless of course you were one of the ones that really hit that high echelon. Right. But so it was a reality shift for him. It was a paradigm shift for him. And then he said, okay, well, I can do that. I can let's look into engineering. And so we looked at the different types of engineering and that can be done. And he picked the one that he likes because he likes to build. He also finds it fun to like blow up. And so there's demolition. Exactly. There's demolition engineering that was pretty substantive, like 125,000 on up, especially like places like Las Vegas, because they do the imploding and all that stuff. Yeah. So we really with the homeschooling, because we came out of Cyber Academy and not so much of that stringent schedule. Okay. we were really able to add into the curriculum what I believe is necessary for them to be ready for the world. I don't think they teach enough about, basic things of how to, reconcile your checkbook. And I know they're like, what's a check? We don't hardly ever even use that, but there was a time, but I still wanted them to know
absolutely
how to do that,
life skills. Those are life skills
exactly.
and that's the beautiful thing about homeschooling, is that you get to add in these life skills based on what you, the home educator, feel like you want your child to know and be equipped for, or to ensure that they have those things that you weren't equipped with. You can include that in the homeschooling. So, Annie, it sounds like for the start of the year, you correct me if I'm wrong, when you all first got started in your homeschool journey, that it was all to a good start. You pretty much was on a solid foundation. You knew what you wanted. You knew what you wanted to incorporate, and you all did it, and you just kept going. Is that pretty much, it was positive?
That's pretty much it. I mean, so it's actually been pretty fun to ask them, okay, what y'all want to learn this year, what you want to do this semester, and and because of the flexibility in homeschooling, we were able to, I believe, do more. And when I looked at their report cards for this past academic year, they actually took 9 classes. Which is very full, but it didn't feel like it to them or us because of the flexibility, and plus it was fun learning these things. This year we and 2 points real quick. I started also teaching on entrepreneurialism early, so they know about bylaws, articles of incorporation, and, what's the difference between INC, LLC, whatever. And so, and that first year they even started businesses, and because
awesome.
We have masterminds and moguls sitting up in our home, and we just have to water them and nurture them together. And one of the things that I struggled with as a student in high school was I did not fall into the traditional realm. I didn't want to be a doctor, didn't want to, lawyer, kind of, because I like to argue. So I was like, maybe I can do that. But there was nothing traditional that I wanted to do, but I knew that I was good at putting stuff together, executing things and coming up with ideas to maybe how to make money. But, even the guidance counselor was like, well, I don't know what that is. She couldn't lead me into business ownership. It was all about working for somebody else. And so I didn't want my children to not understand that they have the option to be a business owner or a employee, or that they can do both. You can work and own a business and, whatever have you. So we did start that as well. This past academic year, they even learned the basics of investing. So they had to open up, the part of their project was to open up a brokerage account. Of course, we had to give them seed money, and that's okay. And they had to pick stocks, follow it, and then make the decision of which one they were going to buy. And then they had to follow it to make sure, continue following to decide, hey, do you want to keep it? Do you want to sell it? What does the P&E look like? How are they tracking? What are they forecasting with the, earnings? And so they actually did so well. And this market is a bit of an anomaly, but they ended up doing very well. So their portfolio had risen like 18%.
Wow.
And
good.
Yeah. And so, so they get firsthand experience. And guess what? You're not going to learn this in your brick and mortar.
That's right.
Even in the magnet schools, maybe some of the private schools, but they're not getting this type of learning. So
yeah. Such good information. And Annie, I'm so proud of you. I don't think I got the follow up on how well you all were doing when you started homeschooling. I just knew that you just had wanted some information from me, Angela, get me started on the right pathway. And then you just jumped in and just got it done. which of course goes along with your personality. I don't expect anything less from Annie Bell. And of course, you all just excel. The other element you added into it is world schooling. And I do want you to touch on that just a little bit, because this past year, you guys were all over the globe. And it was exciting to see, you know, pyramids and all this stuff kind of you had going on. Like, okay, they are doing it. So touch on the world schooling aspect. How did that come about? You know, and what was that dynamic like, and how did it, you know, really formulate and change, if it changed, your family and your journey for the better, you know, doing this world schooling?
Well, first of all, you know, I say travel enthusiast. That's the, you know, the prima donna word, but I'm really addicted. I'm addicted to travel, and I'm not even ashamed and don't want recovery.
You sound like I'm addicted.
Yeah.
This is like, look, have you seen that meme? I posted it on my Facebook page on Instagram, and the meme was, I cannot wait for that day when I walk down the aisle and I hear those magic words. This is your captain speaking.
Yes, I saw that. I saw
like,
that.
I cannot wait to walk down the aisle and hear those words. Lord, Lord, Lord.
Oh my gosh, everybody know I'm about fit to be tied, and my father-in-law keeps sending stuff like, are you okay? And you know, I know you haven't been traveling, are you okay? And so even on my birthday, he put a post up about, you know, my birthday, and he was like, I know this is a hard year for her because she has not been able to travel. So everybody who knows me is like, okay, she, you know, they're waiting for the shoe to drop that I'm gonna just go off, you know.
Grandma done had enough. I had enough. Get me out of this house. Let's go on a plane. That is I'm chill because I understand the situation, but I'm telling you, I cannot wait till things open up. So, but anyway, just tell us, how did that come about, to step into world schooling, and name a few of the places you've gone and how that has shaped your schooling.
Okay, and this, I love talking about this piece because, again, because I'm such an enthusiast. But we all had already been traveling, but it was for vacation, and it was, you know, so the kids were already traveling like once or twice a year, depending on what was going on. Yeah. And then I said to myself, I said, it'd be nice if we could travel maybe 3 to 4 weeks out of the year, and maybe even graduate to 6 weeks out of the year. And so I just started just looking up some things, and I happened upon a Facebook page about Worldschooling.
Okay.
And I gravitated to that and started reading up on it. And one of the families was the Griggs,
Mm-hmm.
Griggs.
Mm-hmm.
They actually had just been on HGTV, I believe, got into their dream home. And a few months later, they decided, hey, let's just sell our house and for a whole year, just travel.
Okay.
And so I thought that was a wonderful idea, and I was just following them. And I thought, hey, you know, maybe we're not at the place where we want to just sell our house and just be on the road. You know, we got family, elders that we're still, you know, it'll be hard for them to,
sure.
You know, not be around us for all that time. So I said, maybe we can do something like a hybrid. So in order to make it homeschooling, world schooling, I started looking up ways to make sure that it is curriculum worthy. And so one of the things that I did was, first, I asked the kids, my husband, and my own desires, hey, what are some places that you want to go? What, you know, that you want to see? And we're thinking about doing more travel and adding it to your curriculum so you could learn. And then as I'm doing that, I started reading about all the critical thinking that happens when you're traveling. The mind is open and more tolerant of different cultures and different languages and traditions, and wholesome, and you know, such a wholesome approach to educating children, because it begins with them early, that they're able to start learning these things. Absolutely. So even though it's fun, okay, it is fun, but I make sure that prior to us going to any place that we learn the language, and not to the level of where they can translate at the UN, but so we can say hello, where's the bathroom,
Right.
read the menu, things of that sort. So last year was the first year that we actually did our world traveling. So we took 21 days and we went to London, Paris, Barcelona, Spain, hopped over to Italy, went to Rome, Florence, Venice. Then we hopped on a cruise and went to Bari, Italy, and Kefalonia, Greece, Crete, Santorini, and then even went to Croatia.
Yeah, that's a lot. Days. That is a lot in 21 days.
It is.
That's
that's a lot. We learned 4 languages. So we learned Italian, French, Greece, and Spanish. Spanish was something we were kind of already learning as part of their, their core curriculum, but the other 3 were brand new. Then I got this great deal for Egypt, and that's been a dream for me. And so we decided to take 15 days and go through Egypt. So in Egypt, we took 15 days. We went to Cairo, Alexandria, Aswan, Luxor, and Abu Simbel.
Wow.
And
that's a lot too.
That's a lot. And it was the best experience ever. And so in order to do that, we also learned Arabic. And so before we left, we tried to learn those languages. Also part of that, part of the curriculum before we go on any trip is to also learn their culture of every spot. So again, not to be historians and not to, but enough to get them started.
Knowledgeable. Yeah.
Exactly. So they learned the culture and traditions and history of all of those places that I mentioned, because we also, all together, I believe we did 22 international cities. So, Barcelona and, all the cities in the country. And so we learned that. And also, they help in itinerary creation. Again, they're understanding, planning, learning how to do those things. And so then, while we're there, during our time, they journal. They have to they journal. My daughter she took photography, so part of her what she has to present are photos, and in different angles, and whatever she finds beauty in, that's what she has to take. And so we try to find it, make it again to their natural bend, while they're out there. We also do educational tours. So we will get tour guides, and they will, help us to learn more about the history. And learning history and the culture while you're there is so much more different than learning it through a textbook.
Yes, absolutely.
And so and so we submerge in the culture, eat their food. My kids, their palate is very diverse, because we just open them up. Even while we're here, we always go, at home, we try to go to different types of restaurants and stuff like that. But again, while we're there, we don't do, we did do McDonald's in Paris because we were a bit homesick. So we did get some French fries.
Okay.
we're like, oh, there's McDonald's, so.
So American, some European.
I know.
I understand.
Yeah. So, but we tried to stay away from American food, so that we can really get into their culture. And like in Croatia, my daughter ordered black ink squid noodles. So they made the noodles from the ink of the squid, and made the sauce. So the sauce was actually black. And you know, she's so used to delving into stuff like that that it was no big deal, but it was delicious. And you know, eating truffles in Italy, black truffles are, you know, very expensive. And while you're in Italy,
you might as well try it if you can.
Right. And it wasn't that expensive because it's right there. And we try to attend events while we're there, whether, you know, if they have a cultural event or something like that. And we also try to give back to the community that we're in. So for instance, next year, I have a list. Our theme is around the world in 80 days. So I'm putting together what we missed this year and what we want to do in 2021.
All together in one year, 2021.
So we're going to be gone for like 80 something days. And we want to give back to the community. So I'm working with tour guides who can connect me with orphanages or, you know, homes for displaced, whether there's domestic violence or whatever have you, to go ahead and help in that endeavor as well. My son, you know, and you probably know this already, at the age of 6, he received a grant to feed hungry Newton County children in our area. And so he was able to feed 110 children. And then he turned around and wrote a book. He's 7. At 7, he wrote a book on how he did it, how he, you know, why he cares so much about the homeless and those who are hungry.
Wow, I didn't know that, Annie. I didn't know he did that.
Yeah. Uriah's Bag of Hope, and so his book is on Amazon. But through that, we're trying to again make sure that they stay civic minded and philanthropic and charitable. Yeah, because that is equate to love, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
that is
you know,
beautiful.
yeah. And so thank you. And so part of our journey, our world schooling journey is, you know, Bible study as well, because that's not taught either. So we try to teach that. But so as we go out into the communities, we make sure that we help with integrity and dignity, because a lot of times, one of the things that I hated seeing is like when we go to the underdeveloped countries, you will see a lot of Americans who, I guess to them, they're trying to help, but it's in such a embarrassing way. So for instance, we were at the port in Haiti, and the kids, again, such poverty, and the kids would skip school during the day when ships are coming in, so that they can go and beg for money. So these kids have learned to get creative. So what they would do is jump in the water and swim over to where the cabins are, and ask them to throw down coins, and that they will catch it with their mouth.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and that broke my heart. You know, I was like, and people were throwing money out, and to them, they're probably thinking, I'm helping the poor. But to me, it was, you know, it wasn't respectful. There was no integrity in it.
Yeah.
And I said, when we give and let them receive with dignity.
Right.
And so we went down there and gave them paper money. They were like, you know, oh, throw the coin. I said, no. Give them the paper money in their hand. Yeah. You know, and show them the love of Christ through your giving. Right. And so that's one of the things that, like I said, we try to do. So next year, we're right now I'm working with Cairo and in Morocco, and I'll hopefully connect with everywhere else we go, whether it's have a dinner for the orphans, or you know, we're just kind of open to what we do. If there is sex trafficking going on in that arena, maybe if there's a home there that for trafficked children or people, because men get trafficked too, that we, you know, somehow give. So I'm coordinating that right now. After afterwards, okay, after we come back home, we do decompress. We take a minute and just kind of just breathe. And I'll even schedule the whole week off of whenever we come back.
Yeah.
No school.
It takes that long just to get back in the groove and come back to the high of vacationing and having travel. You need to come back in front and relax from the vacation.
Right. I always say you need a staycation after your vacation.
Always.
Exactly.
I agree.
So after we decompress, we do try to do some projects around where we went. So whether it's we cook a meal that's representative of that area, you know, they can do collages, they can do crafts, just whatever they want to do. Some of the things I like for them to do is because I'm trying to raise 21st century global leaders.
Okay.
So I want them to say, well, you know, this is a problem that I saw when I was in Cairo, and I think this could be a possible solution. Okay. So I want them to always be thinking about how they could help, how can things be better, but not to be so privileged that they can't go to, Barcelona and see that they may have a good idea on something that we can bring back to the United States.
Okay.
Because the United States does not have the monopoly of good ideas and, you know, great inventions or whatever have you.
That's right. And we can feel that attitude as Americans for sure. And having lived in Spain, I went through that for real, you know, going there with this Americanized, privileged mindset, even though I was a Black woman, but I still had this Americanness about me, and go there to give and not look at the opportunities where I can receive from the people. And so, I totally get what you're saying. That's very good. That's beautiful.
Yeah. And I want them to make sure that they learn that. Yeah. That even though we may have some things here that others may not in the underdeveloped countries, there is so much to glean from the wisdom of everyone around, you know,
all over the world. Right. However, whatever economic standard or status they have, you can learn and glean from and bring it back and utilize it, if so be it, from my own hands, you know, maybe for someone else, but definitely can be in a position of learning. That's good, Annie. That's good. I wonder if you can tell us, so you dove in, told us what your first year of homeschooling looked like. Looked beautiful. You talked to us and told us about your Worldschooling adventure. Take us to, and this brings the human side of us. And a lot of times when I do interviews, and people who do, you know, usually homeschool, they love it. We love it. And it's so many things that we can share, all the great experiences, all the wonderful things, that, you know, in ways that our children are thriving and the academics that they're getting and all that. And for someone who's looking on could be like, whoa, intimidated. That is not me. I can't do it. So the human side of that comes in when I ask this question. And I love asking this question. Take us to your worst day of homeschooling. Your worst day of homeschooling where it was so bad, you thought, I can't do this, I'm done with this, we need to readjust, we need to reconsider, we need to do something different, I need to put them back in school. I don't know, whatever that was that made you feel that way. Or, I mean, maybe it wasn't a worst day, maybe it was just overwhelmed, I got too much going on, physically I can't do this, mentally I can't do this, emotionally I can't do this. Whatever the case may be, take us to that day that caused you to almost backtrack and say, I can't do this, but you didn't quit. And that's why you all the amazing homeschool family that you are today. Take us to that moment, Annie.
Yes, and I'm so glad you did ask that question, because I don't want it to sound like everything has been a walk in the park. Just some background information. I caught polio when I was 3 years old from the vaccine, and I've survived it, lived through it, you know. I believe I thrived. And then when I was carrying my second child, I was diagnosed with Post-Polio Syndrome. So if it wasn't bad enough that you caught syndrome but you still survived and tried to thrive, now the polio, because it kills the neurons in your spine, your muscles starts to die. The ones that, and the neurons that has been compensating for the other ones that have died is slowly dying. And so my doctor basically said, he described it as a battery that is not rechargeable. So once the neuron dies, that's it. And so my neurons are dying. In Jesus' name, I'm healed, but I'm walking out what is happening into my body.
Okay.
So with that going on and getting it's a downward spiral, my energy levels are very low, much lower than probably half of where it used to be. But my son's energy level is still up here.
Okay.
He also, he says to me every morning when we wake up, it's time for school, and he'll say, I hate school, every day. Every once in a while, he's, he'll get up and is excited about the day, but majority of the time he steps into the day with that. So we've learned how to kind of go get through, let him go outside, run around before school, get some of that energy out. We also have 2 recess, make sure that we give the recesses, but probably once or twice a month, my son will have a meltdown where I'll tell him, hey, when you're reading a book, something simple as follow along with your fingers, so your eyes don't have to look around to see where your spot is. If he's in one of his moods, he will have a complete meltdown because I've asked him to follow with his fingers. I even have recordings where I'm like, because I'm like, do you know how you're behaving? Where for 15 minutes he's crying and yelling because he does not want to do it my way. Right. It's like, why I always gotta do it your way, mommy? I don't like doing it that way. And no matter how much I let him, go ahead and try to read without following, and he's not fluid. Right. And so he's not reading to the number of words that he should be reading in a minute or whatever have you. And so anyway, this day, literally, he's crying, he's flopping on the bed, he's, and and then I lost it. I lost it to the point where my husband came in and he was like, what's going on? And my daughter came in and she's like, mommy, don't stress out, because, my body is already taxed, and then he's behaving that way. And I had to just I actually took the rest of the day. I was like, you know what, that's it. We're not doing any more school today. Because again, I don't want to injure my son's soul either. I don't want to create any soul injuries for him. Right. And so we have to know sometimes that and the great thing is we have the flexibility, but sometimes it gets hairy, it gets ugly, it's stank. And yes, and I'm just like, and I have given up several times. Actually, I was like, hey, you know what, this is the last year, since y'all seem to hate this homeschooling thing. And my son is like, no, I love homeschooling, I just don't want the school part. Okay.
He liked the home part.
Right, he likes the home part, and he likes the world travel part. Yeah. But he does not like the schooling, the academic part. Right. So yes, we'll have those days. You will. I don't care who you are. You're gonna have those days. I don't care how perfect your children are. You're gonna have those days.
So how well organized you are, how well organized you had your day, how well organized you had your schooling.
And even the well-intentions, the great intentions you had, it can some days it just can be so bad that you want to quit. But really, you got started on this endeavor for a reason, and you have to keep that in your mind. Keep that in the forefront to make sure you understand. And we actually have written out why we're homeschooling, what we're trying to accomplish.
Always start with why. start with
Yes.
your why. So when you want to quit, or you thinking you're done, you can go back. You need to go back and pull out that why.
Exactly.
Remind yourself, oh, okay, all right,
Yeah.
here we are.
Exactly. You know, I don't drink alcohol. If I did, I probably would have gotten a glass of wine that day. But you know, I poured me some tea. I said, you know, I'm just gonna watch some TV, let it watch me or whatever, and
Yeah.
let my son kind of decompress as well.
Yeah.
Later, of course, he's like, "Mommy, I'm sorry. I don't know why I behaved that way." And I videoed him a few times, and he's embarrassed of how he acts. But sometimes, you know, I started videoing because I wanted him to see his behavior after he's calmed down. And like, this is you can't act this way because it stresses people out. And it, you know, really, he could have been done reading if he had followed along.
What you said, yeah.
Instead, that situation lasted 15 minutes, and we're all spent. So that's the worst day.
Yeah. I hear it. Or days that you have, they kind of look like that.
Right.
But,
yeah.
That personality and his energy, his tenacity and grit and determination and strong will serve him well in this life. And I just declare that along with you, my sister. Okay.
Amen.
All right.
Amen. Yeah, I put up a meme, and it you know, all the negative things, the way we say it about our kids, but how it really could happen. I mean, what they are actually going to grow up to be, or the personality and characteristics. I was like, oh, okay. You know,
this is why this. Oh, it's going to happen. It's going to translate to this.
Exactly.
It's going to translate to that. Yeah, well, honey, let me tell you, I got some things I'm working on. I don't know how that's going to translate to nothing. Okay, I'm just going to tell you. So, but my only thing I can tell my younger ones is like, listen, I done went around this mountain a couple of times, but your older siblings, so you can't pull the wool over my eyes this time. It just
right.
I don't know. I just told him a little while ago, I don't know how but Annie, I don't know how none of that stuff gonna translate over, but they just can't put the wool over me.
Right.
This time around. So I had to laugh at some stuff. All right. So Annie, let me tell you this. So as we transition to our show, we have had a long conversation indeed. It's been chock full of good stuff. Annie is full of information and insights and just beautiful stories to reminisce on, and not just stories, but just real life stuff to reminisce on and to share. So Annie, thank you for all of that information and insights into your life. So girlfriends, if you're just joining now, this is Girlfriends Chat with Angela Jordan Perry, the podcast where you hear the full interview, all the details, ins and outs of these amazing homeschooling families, their journey, and how their successes look like and their challenges look like of homeschooling, and how they're getting it done. And it just encourages my heart to hear stories like this over and over again, success stories, and along with the challenges, but the successes and the beauty of the homeschooling outweighs those moments where we're just like, okay, all right, go ahead. I'm going to videotape you like Annie just described to us. But so anyway, this is the part of the show I'm going to ask you all to be sure to share and get this information out. You just never know who needs to hear this insights and be encouraged for the journey, and just be prompted, a little push to get them going on this homeschooling journey of home educating and educating their own children, okay? But this part of the show, Annie Bell, is where I will ask you questions to pick your brain. These are quick little answers to give, to pick your brain. Again, give us some quick insights into your homeschooling journey, okay? You ready?
Oh, I think I am.
All right, all right. So what is your favorite quote that helps you through this homeschooling journey?
It goes, love and nurture your kids as if they're dying tomorrow.
Ooh.
But teach and show your kids as if you are dying tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
And even as I say it, it sends chills up my spine, because at first it sounds a bit morbid, but really it's about life. It's about how to make sure that you live every day purposefully and be purposed in what you're doing, so that, because these little kids, they're dependent on you. I can't
when they don't even know it.
They don't. Exactly.
Yeah.
And they think they know it. They think they got it all together, but it's like, hey, I'm 52. you're 10. Please know that I know a little bit more than you do.
A lot more, boy, a lot more. Okay? A lot more.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so that's how I really wake up every day.
Beautiful.
Is how am I going to love my kids and nurture them, so that they know. And the other one that I also go by is every child deserves to have one person who is absolutely crazy about them. Every child deserves at least one. And if they have more, great. But at least one who is absolutely, hands down, crazy about them. And I want to be that one for my child, for my children. And so those are the two things that I really try to keep in the forefront of my mind and in my spirit, so that I don't injure my children, but at the same time that I am truly nurturing them to be the best that they can be, all that God has created them to be.
Wow, thank you for sharing those. Those are awesome. And I'm going to go back and listen to this again and write those down and just put it in front of my face. So thank you. That was beautiful. Do you plan to homeschool your children all the way through the homeschool or to the end, whatever that looks like?
Yes, I am hoping to graduate my daughter out of high school in 2 years, and my son in the next, how many ever years that is. And but I do want to keep it, as their choice as well. So if they decide they want to go back, we'll think hard and fast about it. But it's my desire, yes, to.
Gotcha.
And if they even wanted to go to online colleges from home, I'm okay with that as well.
Yeah.
But I think they might want to get out the house and meet some people.
Some people see the world, go,
Right.
I got you. All right. So tell us, what are some resources or curriculum, Annie, that you feel every family should have in their homeschool library?
Well, one is the world study piece. Again, we have to be purposed in raising 21st century global thinkers, global leaders.
Right.
So social studies, world history, that is so very important. Geography, there's people who don't know where Prague is or where Budapest is.
That's right.
There's some people who've never ventured outside of their city, I also believe that it is crucial for us to teach our American history from a more inclusive frame. And so we started that as well a few years ago as well, teaching about Africa, teaching about the royalty that they come from. I did my DNA test, and my husband did too, so we can start to look at the areas that we are made up from. And I'm half Korean, so we pull in Korea and China. And so I believe that is crucial. And of course, everything around the STEM and the STEAM, especially if you have young ladies, because they're we have to open up the doors so that they don't think that their only areas of acumen can only be in these traditional forms, or that if it's male dominated, that they can't become scientists or forensic pathologists or whatever. So I do try to make sure that we push the STEAM programs. If I find something in the community, I make sure that they go. And like I said earlier, we chose Acellus because they have the STEM, the whole STEM curriculum in there as well.
I'll just put in a shameless plug for Aquarius Kane. I don't know if you're familiar with her. Aquarius Kane, she was one of my interviewees on the show, and she actually has a business, a STEM, I don't know if it's STEAM or I don't want to say a STEM. It's a STEM homeschool business, STEM. I had a STEAM homeschool academy, and that's where you just add in arts, the arts part of it. But I think it's just STEM. And but anyway, what she does is she creates a STEM package, monthly package. You like a monthly membership, and you receive your package and all these things that you can do at home. That's part of STEM. So for all of you who are hearing this, I will put her information in there. She's been doing this for a number of years. Beautiful program. It's a monthly membership, and you receive your little package each month. As you have some classes where you get together online and you work together, and some things that you do at home in your homeschooling. I don't remember the name of her organization, but her name is Aquarius Kane. You can go to YouTube and look her name up, and you can see that interview I had with her. It was an amazing interview, and she talked about that too. But I will put that information in the show notes for those who are interested, since you mentioned that.
Yeah, that's great.
And she's right in, I believe she's right in Georgia, in Atlanta.
What?
Yes, I believe that's where she is. Yep, Aquarius Kane. So I'll share that information. All right. So what?
Oh, and last thing, finance.
Oh, finance. Yeah.
Make sure that they're literate in finance. Okay, go ahead.
Gotcha. Okay. Of course, that would have to be it, because Annie Bell is all about financial literacy. So she's going to make sure you all have that in your homeschool library. Okay.
Yeah.
What is the best piece of advice, Annie, that you have received that has kept you on track during your homeschooling journey?
I think the best piece of advice for me was that it is okay if you're not okay. It's okay to have a rough day at it.
Yeah.
You don't have to be perfect at it. And that has saved me, because back in the day, before I knew any better, I thought myself as a perfectionist. But I know now that I'm more of have a spirit of excellence. And normally people like us, we tend to drive ourselves, and if it doesn't look excellent, we think we failed. But so that's one thing that I have to keep in mind, that sometimes it won't look like the way I thought it would. It might not smell like it. It might not feel like it, but that I wake up every morning endeavoring to do those things that are healthy for my children.
Yeah, and just keep moving. Just keep moving forward. Absolutely. Right. All right, here we go, Annie. We are on the last question, the $1 million question. Are you ready, Annie Bell?
I think I is.
Okay, well, let me tell you. All right, so Annie, if you had to start all over again to day one of your homeschooling journey, but you have your current knowledge, wisdom, skills, experiences, what would be the first thing you would be sure to change this time around, or something you would add this time around?
I think this time around, I would add more flexibility and more relaxation in the course of the homeschool day. So at first, I didn't give much to recess. So they really didn't have one. They just get it done. Let's get it done. Let's get it done. But then I learned that it's good for them. They need a minute to go out and decompress and run around and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And that if we don't finish it all in that day, that as I have planned, that is not the end of the world. Right. So I think that I would just incorporate and be more relaxed about it, so that I'm not stressing my kids out.
Yeah, girl.
You sound like,
go ahead.
Because the first year was like, like I was a bat out of hell. Like, do this, what? It was so intense.
Yes, that's a good word, intense.
And I think what really drove it home was when my daughter was like, I love you as a mom, but I don't like you as a teacher. That hurt my feelings. Okay. Yeah. And I had to take a step back, but so we incorporate fun. We do jam sessions. They get to pick whatever song they want, dance around. Even though in my mind I'm trying to tell myself this is not a waste of time. We're not, right. Enjoy the music, move with the flow. And so we have jam time. We have praise sessions. They have they have some part of the recess where they have to go outside, get some vitamin D. And then we also have another recess where they can just veg out. So I will probably incorporate more of that in, as we, for this academic year as well.
Good for you. That is well said, beautiful. And I'll just let you know, I'm your sister you know, we sisters, we are connected on so many ways. And that was me. I call the word anal. You said intense. I was so
Yes.
anal, academically anal with my kids in schooling. And just like I was just driven. And I had to learn just to relax. And I learned that they will get it. They will learn it. And just relax, Angela. That became my word. Relax. It's okay. So now I might be a little bit too relaxed, but
That's on a happy balance.
yeah, happy balance, but I'm very much relaxed now because now I've seen, you know, I've done it. When you're at the beginning and you have,
Yes.
you know, 2, you're like, oh my gosh, I got to make sure my I's dotted and my T's crossed. But now I've gone through and I graduated 3 out, and I'm like, okay, I did that, and I did it that way. But now I can do it this way, and they're going to come out, you know, just fine. And so I'm more relaxed with the confidence of knowing that the goal for us in our schooling is to incorporate the love of learning, because learning never stops. They'll become adults like me and my age, and they're going to still be learning. That's what I want them to do. Oh, you didn't get all of the history that you wanted to learn. I didn't give it all to you. It's okay. You got the whole life, your whole life, as long as the days on this earth you have. Keep learning about history. Just keep learning about science. So, you know, it's a love of learning where they want to seek it out and know. So it never stops. That was a big lesson that I learned that remedied my anal academics, or my academic anal, you know, part of me. So that was well said, Annie. Annie, let me tell you, girlfriends, you are the average sum of the 5 people you hang out with. And this hour, girlfriends, you've been hanging out with Annie Bell of Georgia, my dear friend for these past 20 years. So listen, keep up the momentum and continue to connect with positive influencers, homeschool influencers that will influence and bring positivity to your homeschool journey. And then you be that positive reservoir that others can draw from and receive that encouragement and the that they need to keep going, even when their kids are having a little tantrum, and you just sitting in the corner looking at them like scared. You know, what in the world's going on? Get with some people who's going to also be that reservoir that you can draw from, and likewise they can draw from you. Okay, keep up the good work, and just remember that to teach a child is to touch a life. And as we homeschool, we not only touch a life, we shape the future through our efforts of homeschooling. So keep a positive impact day after day. So keep making a positive impact day after day, year after year as you homeschool. And just take these words of advice that Annie has given us and has so beautifully and eloquently shared with us, glean from that. Relax, be flexible, take a break, and enjoy this homeschooling journey that changes sometimes month to month, day to day, but definitely year to year. You can do it. So, Annie, is there any last words of advice you'd like to share with the girlfriends before we get out of here?
No, other than just enjoy your journey. Because when y'all both look, not just both, but everybody in the family look back at it, you know, you gotta enjoy every moment. So enjoy your journey.
Yeah, beautiful. Enjoy the journey. So well said. All right, girlfriends. Well, thank you for joining in. I pray that this has been encouragement and will serve you well in your journey. Share it with a friend and keep, stay connected. Go listen to all the other podcasts as well. Go back and listen to Annie's once again and again and get these nuggets that she dropped down today. So thanks for joining in. I'm Angela Jordan Perry, your host of Girlfriends Chat. Now be sure to check out Annie's teaser talk on YouTube, as we're going to dive into something really deep and specific that we have not talked about in this interview today. So go over to Girlfriend's Guide to Homeschooling with Angela Jordan Perry over on YouTube and get a little bit more that Annie's going to drop out. Okay. All right. Peace. Thank you, Annie. I appreciate you.
Bye. Thank you for having me on. Love you guys.